everybody, what's up? We're back. It's those wrestling girls. It's your girl Krista B.
And Queen PR.
And today, this episode today, it is well overdue. It's definitely warranted for us to do. It may trigger some of y'all. You know, you may agree with us, and y'all may not agree with us. But we would love to hear your feedback either way. But this is a real talk episode, and we've been trying to. I feel like we wanted to do this episode for a while, but it never came to fruition because I feel like the timing wasn't right.
Mm-hmm.
But now the timing is like spot on perfectly. Like I was even trying to do a sound off on it, and then the timing wasn't right on doing a sound off on it either. Like it just did not.
The story hadn't even really unfolded all the way yet.
It just didn't work for me to do a sound off on it. But now we're here, and today's episode will be about the releases, the ageism, the sexism, and all them other isms that happens in WWE that we just are tired of witnessing.
Yeah.
Tired of seeing.
Agreed. And it sucks because a lot of things that I never wanted to believe about the company ended up being true with everything else. So just I don't even know where to start. But this is coming off of 2 weeks after WWE released Mickie James, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Samoa Joe. I got my Samoa Joe shirt on. And some executives have gotten fired. There's been a lot of shakeups after WrestleMania. And then we learned that...
Not shakeups, upsets.
And people get released from WWE all the time, but... For some reason, last year's was very upsetting just because it was all about COVID, budget cuts, and it was just a very upsetting time of year in general.
It was something that nobody could control at that time.
Right. And it was sad seeing
COVID came. Yeah. Right. Our favorites go and stuff like that. But this year,
it just hit me.
It was like a spring cleaning.
Yeah. It really hit me differently, like to release like the Iconics and Mickie James and Samoa Joe, like, and Chelsea Green. It's like it's just upsetting because you have Billie Kay, who has proven herself as being entertaining. Like she was able to really get over with the whole resume gimmick, and she's always been entertaining. She's always been funny. People thought Peyton Royce was going to be the breakout star, and ended up being Billie Kay. So it's like, for you to release her and then to release Peyton. So that literally means we're never going to get the Iconics again. So like, to me,
you can never say never with WWE, but right now it's real bleak for them.
Yeah, it is. I never thought, and that's literally been their dream from childhood, is to make it to WWE. And they did do a lot with their company, and we're going to do a spotlight on them at some point. And they did do a lot while they were with that short amount of time there with the company, but it's just unfortunate because those are that's money right there. Think about like the Iconics and the Bella Twins, or, they've proven themselves as stars. So it's just like, why would you let them go?
WWE doesn't care at this point. Like, I just they don't care. And as much as, we've dreamed of working for the company and meeting Vince and all that, I'm just to a point to where, like I said before, if we was to ever work for that company, things would have to change. And if it would have to take us to go in and change it, to go into sway, to go into, not being so demanding, like, you need to do this right now, because who the hell are we to go and tell Vince what he needs to do with his company? But at the same time, it's just like, we're more closer to the fans and the viewers and the WWE universe than they are.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Like, they see what they see on social media if they really look at it, but they also see ratings and numbers. And if you go off ratings and numbers alone and not what your fans want, not what, the people who are backing you want, like, without our money, your company is trashed.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Like, without our viewership, your company is trashed. And for you to be honest, I wasn't really as heartbroken about, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce's release as I was more shocked, because, I feel like they did I feel like what they did with Emma, they did with Billie Kay especially. Like she had a match, you know, she was doing good or whatever, and then you let her go. I'm not sure if Peyton Royce had a match after, like recently before her let go, but it's like you're giving these women this very little spotlight, like small, like you got to use a magnifying glass on top of a magnifying glass to look at it, and then you still give them your ass to kiss. And people fight tooth and nail to be in WWE. And then for you to treat your superstars like that, especially the ones that fans really love to see, really want you to do more with, it's like you don't listen to us.
Nope.
You don't at all. Like the whole Give Divas a Chance was like that one stepping stone that you guys actually listened to us and actually heard what we had to say. But where does it all go after? Like how, like,
and that was another
I
thing I never wanted to believe was that, and I don't know, of course, if it's true, but I mean, the evidence is clear that the whole women's evolution, Give Divas a Chance and all that was like a PR thing. It was a business thing because it was trendy at the time for women to take the forefront. And it was this revolution in sports all around, and WWE took full advantage of that, in addition to, of course, there being the talent to do so. But then to just hear, you know, Mickie James talk on her YouTube channel, Gaw TV, and to hear her say, like, you know, for the most part, every decision that's made in WWE is a part of a like multi-layered business decision. It's not based on talent. It's not based necessarily on if fans want this. Like, it's really like what fits these, like, you know, business puzzles. And like WWE is going through a lot of shakeups. There's a lot of deals being made. There's a lot of money pouring into the company from a lot of different places. So it's unfortunate that like what really makes wrestling, like why we tune in, which is the talent and what they're bringing, is sort of, sometimes it sounds like, especially for the women, you know, if it doesn't fit what they want it to fit, then they're just like not going to go along with it. And Mickie James, she pitched so many different things. Like she pitched an all-female brand to WWE, which I think at this point, like, why not do it? You have all this amazing talent. You're not showing them on TV. And Mick Foley actually recently tweeted, like, Mickie James is right, and WWE, you need to get on it before AEW beats you to it. And you have Ring of Honor that's doing their women's division Wednesdays now, and the indie scene has always showcased their women on the same level as the men. So it's like WWE is, how are you still behind? Like, that was so confusing to me, when you had a whole revolution, and you're still behind. Like, it's baffling to me almost. It's baffling. Like how you let go.
You know what? I got to shout out Mick Foley real quick, because Mick Foley, he's pro-Black, he's pro-women, he's pro-everything. And, you know, Mick Foley is one of my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time. Like, I don't care which form he's in. Dude love Cactus Jack, Mankind, like... And I love the fact that he's so unapologetic, shameless plug, but so unapologetic about his stance on things, and he's not afraid to take it to social media. Yeah. He's not afraid to take it to Vince and them, because at the end of the day, like, everybody's human. So Mick, I'm giving you your flowers. If you was to ever see this and you want to be on our show, you can hit us.
You are more than welcome.
You are more than welcome to be on our show.
And he's one of those wrestlers that I'm glad I know who he is as a real person, because he seems like a genuinely good person. He has a good heart. He wants equality for everyone. And he just wants people to do the right thing. He doesn't, you know.
He does not care if he lose haters or followers at all.
He is.
So if you guys watch this and don't agree with what Mick Foley stands for, that unfollow button is real.
It is very real. The ones
that the followers that he lose, he would gain 10 times more. So don't worry about it.
For sure. Samoa Joe, I want to talk about real quick, because that was another one that really was
heartbreaking.
It's still fucking heartbreaking to me, because
that was heartbreaking.
Like, I mainly watch to focus on the women, but there are a few of the male superstars that I would tune in to do anything with, and he's one of them. Kevin Owens is one of them. Daniel Bryan's one of them.
Sorry for your boy Daniel last night.
I know, right? But Samoa Joe, it was just like, what the fuck? He was good on commentary. He was good in the ring. He's good on the mic. Like, he's one of those people who's like all around, has it all. Like,
I agree. Like, I saw that list and I saw Samoa Joe. I was like, excuse me? I'm like, why would y'all take him off a commentary?
And
Like, I really
commentaries.
need to know the backstory for that. Like, if he asked to be released and his name was just released, like put on that list with the releases, or if they really was just like, hey, Joe, we can't find nothing for you, especially if you can't fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
oh,
I heard it was something to that effect where I think he wants to wrestle, but WWE doctors won't clear him to wrestle. I think is what is being out there, and he, I guess it must be hard being on commentary when your passion is really wrestling, and it's like, okay, like I want to get in there,
but you're still in the business. Like,
right,
it's not like you're not in the business. Like, there's miracles happen. God is real to whoever it is that y'all pray to or believe in. Y'all, whoever y'all higher being is real. I just feel like I'm pretty sure he didn't have any ring rust. I'm pretty sure he was still training and stuff. And whatever his last injury was, I feel like he has to really sit and accept it to rehab it.
Yeah.
Not accept it to feel defeated, not accept it to feel like you're let down or you're a failure, but accept it to rehab it. Because once you rehab it and once you keep going and you make that injury stronger, you make, it would have been a possibility for him to be back in the ring. I really thought he was gonna make a comeback at Rumble.
Me too, or even like after WrestleMania season, but maybe that was his anticipation too, and it didn't happen, and he was just like, all right. Because the other thing too, which WWE has to be careful for, is y'all are making money. Like, I don't think anything is going to stop WWE from making money, period. But losing fans is going to be a big thing at some point, and you guys have competition. It's not like y'all are the end all be all, which a lot of people feel, and I'm so glad that that's not the case anymore. Like, we're sad for these wrestlers because we primarily watch WWE, but that's not like they're not going to find a job. You know what I mean? Like, these people, some of them were stars prior to getting to WWE, like Samoa Joe, which is probably why he was even more frustrated of just like, okay, I'm not being used how I should be being used. Same with Mickie James. She left because of sexist and fucking body image storylines and, amongst other things. And then she went and became a fucking star, in TNA for years and years and years and years. So I can only imagine somebody like her and Joe being like, yo, like,
real
you know what you have in your locker room and you're not using me. They wanted Mickie James to, on her YouTube channel, she was saying how they kept trying to persuade her to retire. Like, and because she didn't want to necessarily always be in ageist storylines. Like, how come I always got to be the old timer? Like, that storyline is old, and I feel her. Like, that shit is played out. How much can we go with that whole thing? And then her other good point was, all of your male superstars are either my age or older than me, and you never talk about how old he is.
Title, how old they are.
You celebrate the fact that they're this old and been doing it for this long. So how come with me it's different? And that is what's upsetting for me, because this is shit that we say all the time. This is shit that we see on Twitter. Our followers agree the same thing. But it's to hear it from like Mickie James is so unfortunate, because it's like, she is a legend and she should always be treated the same way Lita and Trish Stratus. I shouldn't even say Lita, more like Trish Stratus, because they treat her the way they treat the Undertaker. And I don't understand why other women legends aren't like treated like that. You're not gonna return Undertaker shit or Trish Stratus shit in a trash bag, are you? I highly doubt that. So
that right there, I was just like, I know. It was that part for me where I was like, damn, WWE really has to do better. Like, it's no way that y'all gonna sit here and put her stuff in a garbage bag, in trash bags, in a box. So if it was really Mark Carrano who did that, good for your ass. Hit the unemployment line with everybody else.
Yep.
Who's on it.
That is that, and it was so many things in the last 2 weeks that.
Wait, hold on. Let me backtrack that.
Yeah.
For those of you who are on unemployment, we get circumstances. We get that COVID is real. We understand that. So I'm not coming at anybody who's on unemployment. Shit. Okay?
Do what you gotta do.
Enjoy that while you have it. But for Mark Carrano, who should know better, who should respect these women much better, who's been working with these women for years, to sit and to put somebody's belongings, personal belongings, who gave their blood, sweat, and tears to a company for over 20 years at this point, to put her stuff in a garbage bag and use as a dismissal, as like, you have no regards. I pray Now, I'm not even going to pray and wish that on you. I just hope that you learned your lesson from behind this, because this, human beings should be treated that way. I don't care if you were the janitor and you got let go. Nobody's stuff should ever be put in the garbage can and make it seem like they're not worth, or they're less than you.
Right.
Because as quick as you got that job, now look at where you at.
And it's like going back to y'all being $1 billion company. There is no reason why anyone that has worked for your company should get their stuff returned in a trash bag. Like, to me, this is your talent. Like, this is the people that go out in the ring and do the job that you're making billions of dollars, because they go out and risk their bodies to do what they're doing. And then you return the stuff in a trash bag. And then to hear that it's been going on for over 10 years now, other divas came out and said, oh, that's how I got my stuff too. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's women, so it was so layered the last couple of weeks. And like, I personally lost like inspiration and my motivation to watch wrestling. And like, I always thought that was like really dramatic when I would read that, because that was even last year, like when all those releases happened, when like, dozens of people got released and people were just like, I'm not really feeling it, watching people losing their jobs. My talent, my favorite talent is not with the company anymore. Like, I don't feel like watching the weekly shows. And I was just like, I kind of, it sucks, but it's quarantine and what else am I going to do but watch wrestling? But when hearing Mickie James interview on her YouTube channel and just talking about how they made her feel, and seeing how it's been a long running thing in the company, and how they really don't care about women's wrestling, like how they claim that they do. Like, it was like a balloon being deflated for me. Like, it was just like, oh, it's like womp womp. Like, it's exactly what everybody would say. All the WWE haters would say this. And I'm just like, damn. It seems that to be true.
Right. And when it comes down to Mickie James, right, so for those of you who don't know, I think I mentioned this before. When I was in grad school, I had to do a thesis paper. My thesis paper was on body shaming within wrestling, or within WWE. It was within wrestling or within sports. And I happened to come across the former head security guard that used to work for WWE. And he would tell me how Mickie James had acquired a nickname called Miss Piggy, and they used to call her Miss Piggy because of how, she wasn't as thin as the other girls. But Mickie James is not fat either.
Not at all.
And because she has a big butt. White girls are literally trying to be more voluptuous. Black girls are trying to be more voluptuous. Like, it's okay, and I'm no shade, no tea to nobody else, but it's okay for Naomi to have a big butt because she's black, because she uses it as a move, like a finisher, one of her finishers move. But because Mickie James didn't use her butt as a weapon, now she's Miss Piggy. She just not there. Like, I feel like Mickie James used to get a lot of the heat because she didn't look like the other girls. Like, Lita was the anti-diva, AJ Lee's an anti-diva, but I guess because they were slimmer than Mickie, it was okay. And I don't feel like that's right at all. No. When he told me that, I was like so disgusted.
Yeah. That is so crazy.
Like, she would be body shamed a lot. And I feel like he told me it was time where she'll be in the back crying because she was body shamed a lot. And I'm like,
that. And then to go back, so when she came back in 2016, and we have a spotlight on Mickie James, so definitely check it out if you haven't already. And she said, so what's funny about Trash Bag Gate is what people started calling it, is that it prompted such a response that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon had to respond on Twitter.
Had to say something.
Because it got to a point where it's like, this is how y'all treating people. And I think it was the strength that it was Mickie fucking James. Like, I think the only people that don't see the value of Mickie James is WWE. Her fans see it. She obviously sees it. So for you, I think that's what really sparked it. Like, oh shit, like WWE really sends their fucking employees trash bags. Like, that's insane. So Stephanie and Triple H actually responded. That means it was some shit back in the backstage. And then for a long, you know how long Mark Carrano worked there? So for him to get fired over this, and a couple other people, little shakeups. Oh, you said peace.
Deuces. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, so
you don't treat nobody like that.
Yeah, and a lot of tea came out, like one of his exes or mistresses or whatever the case may be. So I don't know the full truth behind a lot of it, but she started tweeting about how he's just not a good guy. He's kind of been waiting to be let go because he has a very significant severance package, which I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, so another thing that upset me that Mickie James revealed was that she was told that women's wrestling doesn't make money.
Mm-hmm. I tweeted about that.
And
I tweeted that video.
Evolution was the lowest rated pay-per-view ever, which I 100% do not fucking believe. Bullshit. And I have this theory, and I see a lot of people tweet about it, that I don't think they want to admit how well women's wrestling actually does. I think it's that the fact that wrestling, at the end of the day, which is why our podcast exists, it is a male-dominated field. I mean, industry, whatever you want to call it. It is male-dominated. It is testosterone-driven. It is a lot of male ego, period. Like, that's it. It's just a lot of fragile male ego. And I love that we had Evolution because that means that the women pushed through all of that. But it took the world to recognize women for WWE to recognize women. You know what I mean? Like, all other promotions were doing it except for WWE. So it's like this. And even with Stephanie McMahon being there, like,
I just feel like their numbers were so great. It was just like, oh shit, they're upstaging my guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the dudes was in the audience when we were there. The Usos was in the audience. Seth Rollins was there in the audience. There were a lot of guys who came to New York, because I'm pretty sure Raw was like somewhere nowhere in New York or whatever, like Chicago or something after that or whatever. And they came to support these women because they know how talented these women are. There's countless amount of video that shows Seth Rollins crying after a match that a woman has had, whether it's between Sasha and Bailey at TakeOver, whether it's like Seth Rollins is like, and I'm gonna give my flowers to him too. Sorry, Jeree, I love you, girl, but Seth Rollins definitely stands for these women, and this was way before him and Becky even had a thing, had a relationship, were engaged, had a baby. Like, this is way before. He just sees the immense amount of talent that these women have and what they put themselves through. They put themselves through to be just like the dudes or to be better or surpass. And they get dismissed in trash bags?
Oh. I'm like, oh my God.
There's like, not much you can say.
It's honestly unbelievable. And it's if you're not that group that they favorite, and you know how much we love the Four Horsewomen, but it's like, if you're not one of them, you're not going to get treated the same way. If you're not Charlotte Flair, and again, the going back to the business decisions, like Charlotte Flair aesthetically is exactly what the world in WWE like tall, leggy, blonde, daughter of someone that's high profile. Like, even like at my job, there's people that don't watch wrestling, and then I'll mention Charlotte Flair and they'll be like, Ric Flair? Like related? I was like, yeah, that's his daughter. And they know who Ric Flair is. So it is great to have her as the face of the women's division, but it's like, they're not the only ones, and it sucks because it's like, I think about the Iconics. So y'all make the decision to break us up. You break us up. It doesn't work out how you want it with each of us as individuals. So you fire us.
No, you skip it apart. You break them up. You divide, you put them on two different shows. You put them in two separate tag teams. And then you break up those tag teams, make us fight as individuals. Peyton Royce has this most powerful promo she's ever given in her life. And then Billie Kay has her most entertaining moments. And then you fire us. Make it make sense, way.
It's almost like you're not even giving them that opportunity. And of course, every release is different. Like, I do believe that Samoa Joe most likely asked for his release. every case is
because
different.
he wanted to wrestle. Yeah.
Right. Every case is different. But with the Iconics, I just feel like they were put in such a fucked up situation. Like it was almost like when you already had them as like they were already formed, the Iconics were already a thing. You didn't have to do anything to put them over. All you had to do was put them back together and let them do them, and it would have been great. But Chelsea Green, it sucks because she was like promising. It's like different like stages of the releases, because now you have Chelsea Green who never got a chance. Unfortunately, she got injured both of her debuts on SmackDown, and they probably seen that as like, you know what, like whatever. But it's like, why give up on someone that made such a great name for themselves on the indies? She's someone bursting with talent, bursting with like, she has the star power, she has a face already, and you guys literally fire her without giving her a chance. Like it's right. Almost like throwing money down the drain. Like, why would you do that? And then it just
they released a lot of people. Ty Conti released, yes. And now she's doing her shit in AEW. Like, I wonder if they really look back and be like, damn, maybe it's like, this is why we need women writing for women. We need people of color writing for people of color. We need more diversity writing for WWE, because I'm pretty sure if I was to apply to AEW to write, I'm pretty sure I'll be writing for AEW. Yeah, I can guarantee that I'll be writing for AEW. Mm-hmm. Storylines, creative, what should go where. Mind you, and I already said publicly, I don't watch AEW like that. But when I do catch it, it's just like, oh shit, this is dope. Like the whole thing with Kenny Omega and Rich Swann. That's fire. AEW and Impact.
The fact that they're even partnering, doing that kind of stuff,
you don't even think anything like that.
Right, because WWE is so guarded, they want to do everything their way, and they're so stuck in their ways that it's like they're losing out on a lot of things. Just like what Mick Foley said, like, you're gonna miss out on things, and other companies are gonna do it first. Like, they're teaming up with All Japan, like they have stars coming from all over the world. Like AEW is hitting 1 million fucking viewers every week. Like, what the fuck? Like, Rob is barely.
I gotta jump ship. I'm gonna be upset.
See, and that's the thing that I'm so what I'm so sad about, because it's feeling like, okay, I need to really think about this, because the whole reason that I started watching wrestling again, because I was inspired about it. Like, it was just like, okay, this is exciting, this is fun, I can't wait to watch it. I would cancel plans to watch Raw and SmackDown and stuff like that. And now I have no problem missing Raw. Like the fact, and it's not even just this is like the releases and everything Mickie James talked about is like the final thing on like a long time of me feeling this way, like going back to women having 2 to 5 minute matches, and the treatment of Naomi since she went viral in January 2020. I will never get over them not capitalizing on that. Like the pop she got when she we talked about it.
I just posted that video in our discussion group.
Oh yeah,
I really did.
She didn't even have
although it was a sad day, her return was just like, you kind of forgot about like why we were sad or why we were mourning for that split second, because now as I was posting it and I was talking about like the headache I gave myself, because my screen out there. But I was just like, yo, Naomi was gone from since what, Survivor Series before that, or no, Survivor Series Rumble is too short.
Yeah,
SummerSlam. She was going for a while, and then me being able to talk to her after that, like after her return, and to understand why she was gone for a while, it's just like, I commend her for even wanting to come back. Mm-hmm. You understand? Like, but also I feel like for those who come back, does that give WWE that inkling, like, well, I already treated them this way first time, can I do it again? And he's like, you never want to look at the company that you grew up on, that you dreamed of being a part of, that you just like, yo, one day I'm gonna be in WWE working for them, whether I'm a wrestler, whether I'm a writer, whether I'm putting the food and catering, whether I'm packing up the bus, or whoever. It's like, you don't want to believe that these people are, I don't want to say scumbags, but have like those tendencies to where they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And it's heartbreaking. Like the amount of time me and you have had conversations about wanting to be in the presence of Vince and just like talking to him and Triple H and Stephanie and Shane, like that whole McMahon thing. It's like, do you feel the same now? Me neither.
I don't think
like
so.
it's
Like
hard. It's hard.
I definitely lost a little bit of something in the last like couple weeks, and I hope that changes. I hope we reference this episode and hope things like change. But my thing is like, what's gonna change? We've seen a hashtag go viral when Naomi went viral that time in every industry. The entertainment industry tweeted about her. Like they did nothing with that. Booker T had the nerve to say, I don't even know if it was Booker T. It was someone that said like
Booker T is kind of canceled in my book.
Yeah,
he doesn't stand up for Black women at all.
Not at all. He doesn't advocate for us like how he should. And then hearing how WWE really doesn't believe that in women's wrestling, like to hear that from a legend like Mickie James, to me, like that really just like it definitely lost something for me. Like it was like, I don't know. Like I feel like I keep repeating the same thing because and this had to be a Real Talk episode that we did next because I was like, I need to vent about this because if you notice our social media, like we haven't really been live tweeting,
guys, and this is why. This is exactly why. So don't think that we're giving up or something is like wrong personally with us. We take our social media very, very seriously. Like there are times that me and P will have arguments because either I wasn't posting, I wasn't on top of my posting and keeping you guys engaged, and she felt like she was doing everything and keeping up, and I'm just like, girl, like it's tiring that time. Well, you need like it would be times where she'd be on it, and now to see that the both of us have to take a step back and it's really analyze what is going on because it's so the live like we'll keep you guys engaged, but right now like
the live tweeting for me, like the last few weeks I have not had the desire to like sit and watch Raw and SmackDown like I've wanted to in the past because I'm tired of watching, especially on a Monday night, a 3-hour show, and you see these women. You first of all, you don't see women for a couple hours. Then you see them have like these 2 to 5 minute matches. The storylines are just rushed, convoluted, messy.
Sick of seeing Nia James, Lord, right. Nia Jax,
and Shayna, and then the whole thing with the guy, and then it was like, wasn't that Carmella's gimmick? Like, where's Carmella? Like, it's just so many questions that I'm just confused about. The way they treated Asuka as champion, like it was just like so many different things over the last year or so where it's just like, and don't get me wrong, we just came off 2 Black women main evented for the first time. Like, don't get me wrong, we have seen a lot of things happen in the women's division that have been really, really cool. But again, look who's involved. One of the 4 horsemen, you know what I mean? It's like, give that energy and that spotlight to a certain crop of women. And the other thing that's heartbreaking is that I know that y'all are capable of focusing on the women's division because when Becky and Ronda were in the company on fire, we had like 3 women's matches sometimes in one night. You had Becky
like, how can we keep up with tweeting?
Right. You had Becky closing the shows. You had women showing up in multiple segments. So it's like you guys are capable of doing it. It's just like you guys are just choosing not to focus on that, and we don't even want equal like time as a man. We want equal. More. I mean, we do want equal, but we're to the point where it's like we just want real storylines that y'all are putting effort to. We want all the championships to have separate storylines. We want non-title feuds. We want real character development. We don't want y'all to tease Carmella for months, have her do one feud, and then she disappear. Like shit like that is just like, okay, like what y'all did with Asuka, like it's confusing.
It was horrible.
Like it's like, and then you got people that were like the MVPs of the pandemic era, like Zelina Vega, who was let go as well, who we've talked about. Like, it's just
she asked for her release.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it's just it's crazy.
Even Bianca, like I'm happy that we have a champ like Bianca. I'm happy that she's there. Like she came, she saw, she conquered in a year's time. But it also makes me wonder, like, all right, after this year's time is up, what would they do with her? Like if she was to lose her champion, what would they do with her? Like Montez, like the Street Profits was on top of their game. As soon as they lost, it was like you rarely saw them. Mm-hmm. Now you're seeing them more because Bianca's champion, who's married to Montez Ford, who's a part of the Street Profits. Like last night, I kid you not. After I saw somebody put the GIF and said "fight, fight, fight" when it was the mixed tag or whatever, it was a great match, and Bianca whipped the hell out of Bobby Roode with that damn ponytail.
Yes.
But it just makes you wonder. Like, you never want to see one of your own, whether it's the same color or the same gender, go down after having such a high reign. Like, I feel like they need to give these women these flowers, like they did Becky. Like, Becky's run. And I'm wearing my Becky shirt, the man shirt. Becky's run was amazing. Like, I really felt like it was a Stone Cold Rock era with Becky's run. Mm-hmm. Why can't we feel like that again? Why can't we feel like with Bianca we have another Rock era, or we have a Triple H era, or Austin, or even Taker era? Like, I feel like we need to have that, like Naomi and Lana. And don't get me wrong, they're grown. Lana's growing on me. Maybe it's this headache that's talking. Lana's growing on me. I'm joking. Right, I'm joking. Lana's definitely grown on me. Lana really has proved herself. And why do they keep losing? And like this stuff with Nia.
So dumb.
Nia's champion, and it's funny what, like, her falling over the water the other night. Like, what are you doing?
And not only
you're champion, why are you embarrassing your champion?
Right. And I only did that because Mandy Rose happened to fall at WrestleMania. So this is how lazy we get with the women's storyline.
And that was an accident. Right. That was nowhere near for real. I mean, nowhere near scripted. That was an accident.
Exactly. So it's like, this is how lazy y'all are. Speaking of Lana, the payoff, we watched her get thrown through a table for months straight. How that didn't end with her and Naomi, two like
winning championship,
like two people that the people are rooting for. How that ain't lead to a payoff at WrestleMania and them winning the championship? The Riot Squad. I can't think of a tag team that had more momentum behind them for those like couple months. And y'all never put them in the title picture. And then when they did, they lost. And then they're not even in the title picture anymore.
Like, I forgot the Riot Squad was still a thing.
Right. And then Charlotte Flair comes back, wins the tag team championship with the Raw tag team champion. I mean, the Raw champion, Asuka. Why were y'all even like? It's just like, and then it's just so much. It's like they don't give a fuck about the women's division, and I don't know if it's because Paul Heyman isn't writing. I don't know if he was writing Raw. Yeah, he was writing Raw before, and then now it went to like Bruce Pritchard, and people said, and I love his podcast, but I didn't know about how he was as a WWE employee. And a lot of people said like, oh yeah, say goodbye to the women. That's going to suck for the women's division. Watch. Because Paul Heyman advocates for talent. He doesn't care if you're a male, female, whatever. Like, he was really high on Chelsea Green. Because he knows like how talented of a star that she is. But as soon as, I don't know if that's backstage changes is why the women's division just is literally going like this. Like, but it's very disheartening, and I really hope that things do change. I hope this Mickie James situation like spurs something in them. And I don't need a whole nother women's evolution thing. I just need you guys to present the women the same way y'all do the men. Put energy into the storylines. Build stars that are not the Four Horsewomen. Not be repetitive and boring, like you said with Nia, Jax, and Shayna. Like, okay, we get it. That's funny. Can they lose these shits, turn on each other? Can the belts move on with other people? Can we have another non-title? Like, there's so much that needs to be done.
It is. I really feel like if we was to, like, I do hope to work for WWE in a way of changing writer and creative.
Right.
Like, Bruce Pritchard, you can blow the grip at this point, because your writing and the way you don't care for women is like, you either don't have kids or you don't have daughters. Because if that was your daughter, you will want them to have the best. You will want them to be seen as the best. You will want them, you understand? Like, and for Vince to have a daughter
that's in charge,
you honor her. Like, do you not care? And you have 3 granddaughters.
Yeah, and these women are giving it like. And it sucks. Like, Carmella was on the Bella Twins podcast, and she's just as frustrated as everyone else. She was just like, if it feels like we took all these steps forward to take all these steps backward. She watches Raw. She says sometimes she doesn't see the women for like over 2 hours, and even she's frustrated. So imagine And she's someone that has a pretty secure spot. Like, I would be completely shocked if they ever release Carmella.
I
But
don't think it's ever secure in WWE. They just
that's
make
true.
you feel real comfortable.
That's true. And so that was another thing that was fucked up that I heard, that a lot of the talent that were released were told that they would be safe and were released anyway. And a lot of times they hear it maybe an hour before WWE announces it on Twitter. Like, we wish them the best. So it's like we kind of all find out around the same time. The superstars find out around the same time. The fans do, and it's just a clusterfuck of just
That's
like what.
disgusting and unprofessional.
Yeah.
Seriously, it really is.
It really, really sucks. And then you hear them pitching ideas. So it's not like they're back there doing nothing. Like, they're trying hard to be featured. You know, to hear that Natalya still had to pitch to have a women's match on WrestleMania is fucking, like, in 2021, we have to fight to have a women's match on WrestleMania? That's 2 nights? Like, it just... It really so it's just like so many different things. And then that Mickie James conversation, I was just like, oh nah, this is shit gotta change.
I'm just legit tired at this point. Like,
I'm tired. Yeah. I'm fucking
SmackDown
tired.
really didn't intrigue me yesterday. It was good to see Bianca and the Street Profits when, you know, it's like they put in Bailey and they put her back in middle card.
The number one wrestler in the world, by the way, last year, and who also didn't have a WrestleMania match for some reason, who also pitched WrestleMania match ideas and did not get one, but it's just so many things.
I'm tired of seeing Charlotte crying and whining and boohooing and bitching. Give her a new gimmick. I do need Becky to come back, but I want her to come back in a way to where it's either she's a really, really bad heel, like a really, really good heel, or a really, really good baby face. But I think I like her as a heel baby face. She'll be a heel. Mm-hmm. People will see her as a face.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Sasha.
No, I think she's taking
last week. No, she was there last week. She wasn't there this past Friday. She was there last week. They need to do better with Asuka. They need to do better with Naomi. They need to do better with all of them, period.
Yeah, they really do. And I hope, and what I'm hoping is that, like, we can look back on this episode and be like, things changed so much. God. Right, like, you know, things changed so much since, you know, they actually did have a lot of different feuds going on and multiple women segments on the shows and stuff like that, because the ratings,
how about that?
The ratings are literally going down like this. And I'm not one that
I feel like they want to be canceled,
but it's going down, like, to the point where, like, I don't think since we started this maybe since like 2017, I never wanted to miss a show. Like, I would feel away, like, if I had to work or I had plans I couldn't get out of, and I would be tight that I'm missing Raw. Facts. Now I literally, like, it'll be like 8:20 and I'm just like, I know I'm not gonna see any of the women that I want to see because I majority, and I had to put it on Twitter when it was put out there that WWE official told Mickie James that women's wrestling doesn't sell and no one cares about it, whatever. Who else tunes in? Because I know so many people that tune in just to see the women. Like, I know so many people.
First of all, when I reposted that clip with her speaking, the way our discussion groups lit up, the way our Twitter, everybody's like, I tune in specifically for the women. How can you sit here and say that the women not, like, it's written there, like, it's set in stone. The women are really driving your company. And for you to really sit here and say that WWE women's product does not sell this, that, and that, whatever, like, what time warp are you living in? Like, you're still living in the time warp of Hogan, Giant, Andre, or DiBiase and Steamboat, and you still living in that golden era where it was like only 2 women, Sensational Sherry and Miss Elizabeth, Wendy Richter at times, Moolah, rest her soul. You know, we're past that. We are so past that, and nobody can sit here and nobody sits here and sees or understands. And it's like every time we voice our frustrations, voice our comments, our concerns, is really, really overlooked. I got to a point where I was just like, listen, I'm tagging everybody in WWE, and if they block me, they block me.
It's true, because you always, like, with social media and being a wrestling fan on social media, it's all about posting your opinions, right? but like you never want to be too harsh on like a $1 billion company like WWE, because like you said, one day maybe we would like to collaborate with them, whatever. But it got to a point where I was like, do I want to? I like, it's like, is that something I want to do anymore, because of just how things can happen and how things go on, and back there. But I try not to dwell on the negative, and like we even tweet from our accounts, like try to think about the positives. But it's been a hard couple of weeks on top of frustrations that we've all had about the women's division over the past year or so. So this is like, I'm hoping that after we've been able to vent on this episode, thank you for letting us vent in this Real Talk episode. We love doing these. I hope that shit changes. That's really all I can say. I hope that this opens the door for us to be more of a platform for female talent. So we're really trying to manifest having more wrestlers on the show, more female wrestlers on the show to talk about their experiences, because, this podcast was started because we were inspired by the women's evolution and women's wrestling and being a platform and an advocate for that division. So, thank you for everybody that was helping us tweet Mickie James the other day.
Yes,
nothing is set in stone yet, so we're really just crossing our fingers and really hoping that it does happen. So we appreciate that. So we're hoping that this is just the beginning. Check out our Jazz episode 2. Shout out to her. So even she's doing a lot with women wrestlers. I think I mentioned Ring of Honor already. Shout out to Maria Kanellis and what she's doing. She's actually on the board of directors at Ring of Honor. So there are, like, the women in wrestling are killing it. It's just the promotion that we love and watch is not. So we are hoping that this is now the beginning of a whole nother evolution, and that we could be a part of it. And however platform we want to be that.
Facts. I mean, like you said, this episode was needed for us to vent. So thank you guys for helping us vent, for allowing us to vent. I don't think I have any more else to say. I just hope, we can see a change, spot a difference. And, and guys, if you feel frustrated with anything, and this is not just wrestling wise, this is anything, and you can at them and tweet them and do it. That's what social media is for. Call their asses out. Mm-hmm. Loud and proud and boisterous and in the front. Don't sit there and be, oh, I'm nervous. Call them out, because somebody's bound to see it.
Yeah. This is true.
And on that note, it's your girl, Krista B.
And Queen PR. Don't forget to follow us everywhere. All that good shit.
Everywhere. We out. Yes. Bye.